Morning everybody. The aim of today is to get this painted, the Telelever for the front suspension. Now the front suspension is in that condition. You see the state of that. I was aiming to kind of fix it up, but when I looked how much the spring compressor were and all the parts, there was one for far cheaper on eBay. So I bought a replacement one just to replace that, and then when I finish the bike and I've got money left over at the end, I'll probably recondition that, so I've got a spare. The other thing was, I don't know if you remember, when I was taking the front off the bike and the ignition popped out the bottom, and I said, oh, it's not a big deal, just buy a new one. Well, it is a big deal because you just can't get hold of them. Nowhere has them in stock anymore. BMW don't make them, and you just can't get hold of them. I looked at replacing the springs that have dropped out the bottom, and that was going to cost, I think it was $80 odd for the 3 micro springs from America. Nowhere here did them that I could find, so that was out. I've ended up buying, I've managed to find one on eBay, a top yoke that's got the ignition complete, so I'll have to try and take it off and transplant it onto my one. So that's the plan anyway. Right, we'll get on with painting this. I've chosen to use the Hammerite on it because it's at the bottom, well, like the front of the bike. The bike's not really going to go out in any rain, hopefully, unless I get caught every now and again, but it's not going to be doing day-to-day riding. But I want something decent that'll hold up, and I don't think the spray paint will. It just flakes off, doesn't it, after a bit? So I'm giving this a good coating, and it should be on forever then. Right, so next day, this has had 24 hours to dry. This is dried alright. I'm going to a little bit more into this corner after. See a couple of bits that we've missed just down the corner. The inside, and then we're going to turn it over and do on the top. Get the paint out and get going. Right, we'll leave that to dry. Guide pins came for the brake calipers yesterday. I'm waiting on the brake pads, the new suspension, and then we can get, once this is dried and we've checked it over that it's all fully painted, we'll get this fitted back onto the bike. We'll get the front forks back in with the wheel, and we'll get the new shock mounted. So thank you for watching. Okay, it's the next day. I'm going to just check this over now. The paint seems to have took quite well. Yeah, it's done alright, that. I'm happy with that. All I need to do is just get the wire wheel in. There's just a little bit of rust come up on the inside of here. So I'm just going to give it a quick blast. Yeah, this is a torque 60 on this one. Oh. Get the right torque setting. On this before we put it back in. Seated, and now to put the circlet back in. Double check that is definitely seated. Yeah, it's happy in there. Let's give this cap a clean up and then we'll get this put back in. Seal on here for this. Seal's perished with the age. There we are. Okay, so next part now is to get the suspension in. So that's the old suspension. This is the new one that came for me. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean up and then it's ready to go in. Right, so we are front suspension's back fitted. Telelever's sorted. Where we're up to now is putting the front forks in, but I've got the new ignition coming and this bit that I've snapped underneath. So there's no point in putting the forks on because you have to undo. I'll show you. Whereabouts are we? Sorry, it's on this side. Where that red dot is, there's a little screw that undoes, and then this white part that I've damaged underneath should drop out. We can put the new one in with its wire attached, and then we're ready to attach the front forks back up, get them back on. That's where we're at now. Nice one.